Real estate math. How to understand percentages. In this tutorial, we will describe how to understand percentages. There are a lot of problems in real estate that involve percentages. These real estate problems are computing a real estate agent's commission, computing interest paid when borrowing money, computing mortgage payments, computing loan discounts or points on a mortgage, computing depreciation, computing profit and loss, and computing a return on investment. Each of these will be described in its own video section. One thing that will be common to these different problems are the base, rate, and part. This can be described as below. So we have a circle and it's divided in half. We have the letter P is at the top, and at the bottom we have R times B. And what this represents is an equation. Part equals rate times base. Part equals rate times base. So base, when we're dealing with a problem, usually represents the entire an amount. P, the part, represents the part of the base amount. And the rate represents a fractional value that's determined the part of the base. Part equals rate times base can be rewritten as P equals R times B. And this equation can also be rewritten as P is R percent of B. So P is R percent of B. The equation above implies that every percentage problem can be described as one of three variations as described below. Variation number 1. P is R percent of what? Here B is missing. Variation number 2. P is what percent of B? Here R is missing. Variation number 3. What is R percent of B? Here P is missing. The solution to each of these problem types are as follows. Variation number 1. We have the part divided by the rate. This will produce the base. Variation number 2. We have the part divided by the base. This will produce the rate. Variation number 3. We have the part equals the rate times the base. So we multiply the rate times the base, it will produce the part. Let us perform a few problems. Alright, so the first one is of the form P is R percent of what? So for our example, we're going to use the value 47 is 83% of what? In this equation, or this problem, 47 represents the part, 83% represents R, and we're going to try to determine the what. The what in this case is the base. So to begin, the first thing we want to do is kind of like rewrite this equation. First of all, we have 83%. Let me find somewhere I can write here. So 83%. We cannot use this directly in an equation. So we have to say 83% divided by 100 will produce 0.83. And this is what I'm going to use in the computation. So we have 47. The word is in most mathematical problems represents the equal sign. And so we say that we're going to replace the 83% with 0.83. The of represents multiplication. And then the what we're trying to solve is the base. So what we have is, in this case, if we look at, to solve it, we want to keep b on one side of this equation. I always like to look at my equation as a wall when I'm doing computation, so it's carrying numbers over one side to the left or to the right. All right, so for this case here, because of the precedence rule, and of course we're not going to put all the precedence rule up here, but there are a few things. Let's see here. Precedence rule. There's a few things that we need to keep in mind. With the precedence rule, the few that we only need to know for real estate math are parentheses are always computed first. So that's number one. Number two would be you have multiplication and division. And three, addition and subtraction. So what this says is that, with respect to the precedence rule, we know that multiplication and division is pretty much is the inverse of each other. So here we have a case where we got 83 times b has a multiplier symbol in here. So what you do is you have 47 over here. When we carry the 83 over here, it's going to produce its opposite, which is division. So we take 47 and we divide by 83, and we leave the b over here. So we compute 47 and divide by 83, and it's going to produce a value of 56.626. And so we said here that this is what b represents. So let's test out the problem. We already said that we had the form where it was 47 equals 0.83 times b. What if we just said we want to see if we multiply 0.83 times 56.626, will it produce the value 47 or some value close to 47? So I got 0.83 times 56.626, and it does produce a value of 46.999, and then we round that up, that is 47. And so this problem is solved. So we have the base in this case is 47. And then, the base in this case is 56.626. And this is what we wanted to show. All right, P is what percent of B is another type of problem. In this case, we want to try to solve what is the rate. So what we do here is we want to rewrite this equation. So we know we have 13 here. We say that the word is equal. The what in this case is the R. And we said the of is a multiplication. And we have the value 445. And so we have an equation that looks like it's solvable. Once again, we have multiplication here. So what I'm going to do is we want to keep R on this side of the equation. We have 13s already here. And we have multiplication here. When I move 445 across the equal side, it's going to be division. So it's saying 13's already there. So divide it by 445. And this is going to produce our rate. So we have 13 divided by 445 produces a value of 0.0292. Okay, so let's test this out. So our original problem is 13 equals the rate times the base of 445. So let's say that in this case we just replace the rate with 0.0292 and then multiply it times 445. We want to see, will it produce 13 or some number close to 13? So we have 445 times 0.0292, and it produces the value 12.994. And when you round up, it is 13. And this is what we wanted to show. All right, so we have one more. So it says, what is R percent of B? And for this example, what is 84.5% of 310? So in this case, we're trying to determine the what, and in this case, it's the P. We say that is represents the equal sign, and we have 84.5%. So we have to take that and divide by 100, and that will produce a value of 0.845. We said the word of in a math word problem is multiplication, and then we have the base 310. So we're trying to produce the part. All we have to do is multiply this out. Very simple. So we got 0.845 times 310, and it produces a value of 261.95, and that's what represents the part. So this is what we wanted to show. All right, so this puts us in a position for my next tutorial where we describe how to compute commission for a real estate agent. I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you find this tutorial to be helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to join us here at the Computing Sector. There will be more videos and tutorials coming soon. Thanks.